Hello, everyone. My name is Katrina Bracken, and I'm going to do a presentation about how genetics relates to myself and why it is so important in this modern day and age. So, first, I'm going to tell you the basic definition of heredity, and it is the study of heredity and the variation of inherited characteristics. So, inherited traits and inherited phenotypes that a person may get from their father or their mother or their grandparents or from the lineage of their family. And the variation of inherited traits can be your eye color, your skin color. Um, some scientists say your height is 80% of inherited traits. But other things that you can inherit are diseases as well. So I'll discuss this in my presentation. So some of the common things that I have inherited is my pigmentation, or also known as my skin color. I am brown skinned. My father is brown skinned. My mother is of a fairer skin tone. However, her father was a brown skin and her mother was a fair skin tone. So the brown skin tone was dominant. Both of my parents contained it. Both of them possessed it. And when it got down to me, I got the brown skin tone, which was dominant. My sister is fair skin toned as well, and I was recessive, so she got the recessive trait, and I got the dominant trait that was passed down to me, actually by both of my parents. But my father is the one who possessed it the most, so I inherited the dominant trait. My eye color is brown. My father's eye color is brown. My mother's eye color is gray, hazel. And so I inherited the brown colored eyes, which was dominant. Both my grandmother and grandfather have this on my father's side. And my grandfather on my mother's side has brown eyes, and my grandmother has those hazelish grayish eyes, which is a recessive trait that my mother inherited, but her children did not inherit that recessive trait, although we still possess it. So perhaps my children will have that trait, and it will come out and showcase. Another inherited trait that I got was my height. Is 6'2". I am 5'10". My mother, on the other hand, is very short young lady. She is 5'2". Her mother was 5 feet. Her father is 6 feet. So I inherited the dominant trait of being taller. Not, she is like 5'3". So she inherited that smaller trait on the height scale. But the taller height is dominant, so I inherited that dominant trait of being taller. With my eyesight, which is not that great, my father's eyesight isn't that great. His mother and his father's eyesight were not that great, so I inherited that dominant trait of not having good eyesight. However, my mother has great eyesight, but she possesses that recessive trait. So that's just me personally and the traits that I inherited from my family and the traits that my parents inherited from their parents. The common heritage traits and characteristics that I have. Now we can move on to hereditary diseases. I have asthma. Neither one of my parents have asthma, although my father possessed the gene of having asthma. My grandmother did not have asthma on my father's side, but my grandfather did. So that gene was passed down to me from him. And it get my father, he still possessed the gene, but it didn't showcase, and it came down to me. And I do have the gene. But asthma was a recessive gene. that I inherited. I inherited scoliosis, which some scientists say is hereditary, and some it's not. It's a little bit of both. We both have it, so I inherited progression. And once again, eyesight was a hereditary disease that I inherited from my father and my grandfather. They both had diseases dealing with their eyes, and I have it. And so it was it's actually dominant in both of them. And it was dominant in the male, but I'm a female and I have it. So it's just passed down from his father to my father to me. So inherited traits, I can explain to you a little bit more about what they are. It's something you receive from your parents, your grandparents, or other family members that is inherited, whether it is a personality trait or a phenotypic trait. Some things are inherited genetically, like blue eyes, and others are inherited behaviorally. Your father is really shy, you're really shy. Sometimes that inherited trait is behavior. I don't really have inherited traits that really stick out. I'm a little bit of both my parents. So that's really good. And title in how genetics relates to me, and it's important. Genetics can be the common factor of the qualities of most human inherited traits. The study of human genetics can be useful as it can answer questions about human nature, why we behave the way we behave, why we do the things we do, and it's about understanding the diseases and the development of disease treatment. And to understand those diseases and disease treatment, you have to understand the genetics that is going on in human life. For example, is my mother has multiple sclerosis. It could be a hereditary disease. So it's a disease that I can have. I do possess the gene, but it's something that doesn't show up until later on in my adult life. So I have to keep getting tested for it and keep looking out for it just in case that inherited gene comes to surface. And then I do have something for it. Unfortunately, multiple sclerosis is not treatable at this time, but that's how genetics can relate to me, because through the course of studying this gene and studying how it works, we can find a treatment for it. Another gene that my family has is spinal ataxia. So my sister has spinal ataxia, and then my parent has the gene, but neither one of them has spinal ataxia. But it was passed down from generation to generation to my sister, who then possesses the gene and it showcases. So that is how diseases affect me and my family, and that's why genetics is so important to me and my family, so we can get effective disease treatment, and so we can understand human life, and we can understand how it works, and we can understand how to make it better. So that is a presentation about myself.